Hi guys!
Hello.
We are back. So it's the 9th of August today, so this is episode 2 of our as yet unnamed secret baby blog. So hopefully it'll have a name by the time you see this. Yeah. So we don't know what we're calling this yet, but we'll come up with something because we're not obviously releasing these until we're after the 12-week mark, which is about, we think, 6 weeks from now. So hopefully we'll have a name for this by then. But on that note, we're not going to tell you what they are, but we've been discussing baby names today, so that's been fun. And I had the first one today where I was like, oh, ooh, I like that. That was a good, so we have a strong contender. But yeah, I think probably keep names to ourselves, yeah.
Well, you're convinced we're going to need more than one name.
I am convinced we're going to need more than one name. So obviously we actually need 2 of each sex. So yeah, I honestly, I don't know what I'm basing that on. It is literally just a feeling that I have that I'm having 2 babies, which, like, it's just greedy, really, isn't it? Because I was only planning for 1, but it would be quite on brand for us, wouldn't it? Because basically, like, plan to get, like, before I knew you, all those moons ago, before I'd ever met you, before you were a twinkle in my eye, when I went to go and get a cat, there was a litter of 4, and I brought home 2. And then when we went to get cats, we planned to get 1. We chose 1, we paid for 1, and then we got 2.
I feel like you've misunderstood that twinkle in the eye.
Yeah, I know. I was being facetious. Okay. I'm talking about my own eye twinkle, but in context of you.
Yeah, okay.
Before you put a twinkle in my eye, there you go then. But yeah, I don't know why I'm feeling like it. It's a really strong feeling, and it's based on nothing. It's literally like because I've been reading up on it, and I'm sort of like, are there any signs that you can sort of, basically the only surefire thing that you can actually like do to confirm whether or not you're having a multiple pregnancy is an ultrasound, which I'm booked in for. I'm doing all I can, but I can't do that until I'm at least 6 weeks. I think I am currently about 5.5 weeks, so it should be about 6 weeks on Tuesday. So by Saturday, I should be relatively comfortably over the 6-week mark, and that should be the point at which they can detect heartbeats and things. But even before 6 weeks, they should be able to tell if there's 2 little beans in there. But yeah, it's better if we do the scan when we can sort of check for heartbeat and things. But yeah, so I think at the end of the last instalment of this, I was sort of starting to talk about symptoms, and I've got them. But yeah, I sort of guessing it might be worth us having just sort of a little chat about what we kind of intend this blog to be, because we've been vlogging since the start of lockdown. We were doing them daily, so we actually did about 126 in a row every day, and then when it sort of seemed like I was going back to work, we had to sort of change them to sort of as and when we could, and then found out about little Babbins being on the way, and thought, well, this is stuff that I've got a lot to say, but obviously I can't say this on our normal vlog until it's all sort of safe to announce. But
yeah, it's kind of curtailed our normal vlog a bit, isn't it? Because we haven't, it's hard, all we've been kind of talking about and thinking about is babies and pregnancy and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff and just stuff around that in our life about the fact that you're not eating normally, you're eating really weird things, and your smell is massively...
my sense of smell.
Your sense of smell.
My smell is hopefully fine. You haven't mentioned anything.
Just as good or bad as ever. Your sense of smell and all these things that are going on that even are kind of peripheral stuff that aren't directly about. I'm having let's say she's been eating weirdly. She hasn't been having like cravings and things already particularly. It's more just you've been off your food, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I guess I'll go into all of how I'm experiencing things so far, because it's still actually quite early days in terms of when you'd expect to be sort of symptomatic. Generally speaking, from my reading, morning sickness, which shouldn't really be called morning sickness because it's just sickness, but normally that kicks in around about the 6-week mark. But I have been very queasy and low in appetite since about Wednesday. Food is just unappealing. All food. I have no urge to eat. and I'm sort of eating out of a sense of obligation, really, and sort of. But anything even vaguely sort of full of flavour is too, like, I need bland and easy. So yeah, going for a lot of sort of. Well, yesterday I think I ate like. There's the stuff that's done by a company called Tofurkey, so it's like tofu, soya-based sort of meat alternatives. And this particular one they do is lightly seasoned chicken, spelt without the E, so it's allowed to call itself chicken. And I basically ate half a pack of that, and that was it. And then, and in the evening, I actually had to go to my first sort of social gathering that other people were going to be drinking at, that obviously I couldn't be drinking at. And I thought, oh Christ, people are going to raise eyebrows at that because they've met me. I sort of got away with it though, because actually one or two people there did know, so they kind of helped me cover my tracks a bit. And because I'm telling sort of close friends. So a couple of people knew, and what I did was I basically poured myself a lemonade in sort of a tall like tumbler, and I think people just sort of assumed it was like vodka lemonade or something, or like gin and tonic or something. Like, didn't really think about it.
If you see someone at a party with a tall glass, you don't check, oh, is that, have you got booze in that?
A thing that's like quite handy is that I'm really thirsty all the time. So like I was topping it up quite frequently, so I was going to the kitchen to top up my drink, and so all of that sort of thing. So I think it sort of was quite well covered. The only thing it's the first time I've done this probably ever, but I was totally stone cold sober around a bunch of drunks, and it wasn't too bad. I was expecting that to be really like, oh fucking hell, but actually it was all right. It was like, because I was also kind of anticipating feeling really rough and really tired, because the day before, Friday, fuck me. I did not feel good on Friday. I think I spent like I got up at about sort of 10:30 or something, because I just haven't slept well. But I think I went back to bed at about 1 and stayed in bed till about 6.
Well, the other thing about socialising, and obviously we haven't been socialising sort of at people's houses and things for a while, you know, because the lockdown. But the other thing about it that's different to kind of in the past when we've been out around to people's houses and stuff for a drinky kind of evening is often those things can kind of stretch to kind of 2, 3, 4
Yeah, well,
I
think they all carried on till silly o'clock, but
when you're not drinking at all, and on top of being tired, I think just...
I was quite pleased with myself, because I made it till about 1, and actually, like, although I was tired, I came home then and I had a nice bubble bath before I went to bed, and that was perfect, because I'm just starting to get... It's a bit tricky, because I can't really... The idea of doing this vlog is to document our experience, but also I genuinely think it might be helpful for sort of other people who are either trying or expecting to sort of see what other people's experience is. I've got an added sort of layer of what's going on, because obviously I've got my fibromyalgia as the backdrop to this. So
Did you mention that on the last one?
I'm not sure. I might have mentioned it fleetingly.
If you're new to us and you're watching these vlogs and you haven't watched any others, Ellie has fibromyalgia.
So I've had that for years, and it used to be really bad, but thankfully over the last sort of 4 or 5 years I found a drugs regimen that's worked for me, which has given me a lot of life back. I've actually been able to sort of function and like run a bit. I couldn't ever do like full-time hours, like that's too much. I have sort of lower energy reserves than most people and higher pain levels, but usually if I can sort of get enough rest in, I can sort of function. But
and that allows you to run a business, which I just want to emphasise, because you sort of interrupted one train of thought with another thought, and it almost made it sound like you're saying it allows you to run a bit. And Ellie does not go jogging. Not with fibro. That is not a good idea. Just to clarify, if you're not familiar with the condition. Sorry, not much jogging going on, but it does mean you can run a business.
So that's sort of been my last few years, and that's all been good. Like I sort of, it's managed. It's there. It's always going to be there. It's a chronic condition. It means that I have high levels of pain to deal with, muscular pain.
I do have a lot of sympathy for you. The idea that you've found this meds regimen that works. And now, because pregnant, you just have to stop taking those. Well,
this was the thing. So I was a bit nervous. So the first night I found out was Monday, but it was Monday evening, so it was too late to sort of call the GPs or anything. So and I didn't know Because basically what we were planning on doing was sort of get me back in sync with my normal cycle and then start trying. So that would have been the point that I would have actually gone to the doctor and gone like, right, I'm planning on like trying for a baby now. What should I be doing with my drugs regimen and all of that sort of stuff then? Because I wasn't keen to just stop my drugs straight away, because particularly during the time when I'm trying to get us reopened, I was kind of like, I need to be running on all cylinders. That's not happened. So what I did is I then on Tuesday morning I rang in and I sort of explained, and what she said to me was that it's not recommended to take these I think I did mention this in the last blog actually, so we need to wean me off them. So what we're actually doing is reducing the dose day by day over 15 days, because I was on 40 milligrams of amitriptyline a day, so then we did 30 milligrams for 5 days, 20 milligrams, 10 milligrams, and then none. Because they don't recommend you taking it with pregnancy. They don't know of it causing any specific problems, but they don't know that it doesn't. So that's essentially the thinking there. But actually just stopping entirely is not good for you either, because you might have withdrawal symptoms, and that wouldn't be good for the pregnancy either. So this is kind of the measured approach to sort of get me off those drugs. But does mean I'm looking forward at the next sort of 8 months of not having any of my pain levels medicated, not being able to sleep, plus having the whole array of pregnancy symptoms that I'm looking forward to, some of which I'm already experiencing. And I can't say that it's going to be a typical pregnancy, because some of the things I go through might be due to not being medicated and having my fibro. However, one thing that is quite interesting and slightly magic is that quite a lot of women with fibromyalgia and other similar particularly chronic pain conditions, often have a sense of a temporary remission during pregnancy in the first few months of having a baby. Now, I don't know if that's just that your body goes into survival mode and it just goes, you've got to function, so you just need to just not feel the pain. Or there is sort of a school of thought that is because you have such a different sort of metabolism, your hormones are entirely different sort of spectrum to what they normally are, that it kind of sets in a little sort of reset to the system. Unfortunately, it doesn't usually last permanently. It does tend to creep back in afterwards, but that will be a lifeline if that is the case, because I have to say, coming off my meds is daunting. Those meds are what have given me the ability to sort of have a sort of functioning life for the last few years. Pregnancy doesn't look like a doddle anyway, so coming off my meds that have sort of helped me function at a time when I'm probably not going to function very well anyway is a little bit scary. But you know what, it's kind of, the way I'm looking at it is, it's fucking worth it. It's fine.
Yeah. Well,
like,
you've been very sort of positive and optimistic, I think, about.
Well, excited, isn't I?
Yeah, well, it's exciting.
I'm quite happy.
I didn't realise how many times you would need to wee.
Oh God! Like, guys, it's unbelievable. Right?
And if you are suffering from pain from fibromyalgia, you're going to struggle with the amount of times you have to go up and down you just have to live upstairs. You're in pain coming up and down the stairs, and we haven't got a downstairs loo. We're not posh.
No. Don't even have a cleaner anymore. Sorry, if you watch the normal, the other vlog, you'll know what that's about. And if you don't watch it, go watch it. All of it, all 130
We're going to be doing a lot
episodes.
of in-jokes. Not necessarily the case.
We'll try not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, it's going to be the number of times because I assumed, and you assumed rightly, like I understand, it's a reasonable assumption. I knew about the sort of trope about pregnant women needing to go to the loo a lot. But I assumed that was sort of late in pregnancy when you've got a big old baby pressing on your bladder. That does happen late in pregnancy, obviously, and I think you have sort of an extra stint of needing the loo more often then. But in your first trimester, you do too, because your hormones are just going doolally, and basically your whole metabolism is just running a bit faster. It's doing a lot of stuff. It's making a lot of stuff, like at times it's been like every 20 minutes. That's bullshit.
Well, I was very much of the understanding that it was the baby pressing
so,
on the bladder. So
pressure on my bladder at this stage.
But I said that to you, and then you were like, "Yeah, that's what I thought too." And I thought that was maybe just a stupid man thing, just not knowing about women's bodies, and you didn't know either.
No,
so
it was a bit of a surprise to me. And like, there's so many weird, and not everybody will have all the symptoms, and anybody could have any of them. You might have all of them, you might have none of them, you might have one or two. It's entirely different, and it's different for all women, but it's also, even within one woman, it might be very different from pregnancy to pregnancy. I do know a few people who've got sort of 2 or 3 kids, and they've had one pregnancy where they couldn't stomach anything, other pregnancies where they felt fantastic. It really, like, you get what you get. But yeah, the needing to go to the loo what feels like every 5 minutes, but I'm not exaggerating. It's not every 20 minutes for 24 hours, but at times it will be like we'll be watching like sort of like some YouTube video or maybe an episode of The Office, and I'll go before the episode and I'll think to myself halfway through the episode, I need a wee again. I'll wait till the end of the episode and then I'll go. And like, I have long baths, and I'll have a wee before the bath, and about sort of 20-30 minutes into the bath I'm already thinking, oh, I need a wee, and you sort of hold on to it before you go, like, I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to get out of the bath and have a wee. It's bonkers. Like, but also, like I did mention, I am thirsty, but at the moment it's very hot, so that's probably not helped. So the heat is not helping with anything, but because I'm not eating very much, I'm quite consciously trying to stay very hydrated. So admittedly, I am probably taking in a lot of fluids. I'm a little bit thirsty, and I looked into that. That's a fairly common pregnancy symptom as well, because you actually increase the amount of blood you have, and your blood flow to everything kind of increases, particularly obviously to sort of all your reproductive bits, but actually to everywhere. You kind of get slightly raised blood pressure, more blood in your body, your increased blood flow to everything. That's actually one of the reasons why you tend to get headaches, which I have had plenty of. And just yeah, it's bonkers. But yeah, so you're thirsty, so you drink a lot, but also, yeah, quite a lot. Thankfully, I'm not being sick yet. I just feel queasy, and food is pretty unappealing, and certainly it needs to be quite bland. Today I was quite pleased, because this evening I actually managed, probably for the first time in a few days, to have a proper sort of meal-sized meal, and the way I managed to do that was to have quite a lot of veg, quite a lot of steamed veg, because I thought, well, that's not too heavy, that's not going to sort of sit too heavy in my stomach. Didn't do what I'd normally do, which I'd normally absolutely smother that in like salt and pepper and stuff, but I was just like, no, that might be too strong a flavour, so just kind of a little bit of butter I put over it, and then I just had a little bit of the Iceland, like the no chick strips, which are kind of like chicken pieces, but obviously vegan. And that, it went down quite well, that, which I was really pleased with. So I'm kind of hoping maybe I can bulk up some of my meals now with just quite a lot of veg, and try and eat like fruit for snacks and stuff, and maybe the odd nuts and things. But I'm not going to push myself. I kind of think at the moment my calorie intake doesn't actually need to increase that much, particularly at this stage, because the amount of actual extra sort of person I'm making is quite tiny at the moment. As pregnancy goes on, you tend to get increased appetite, and that's literally because you need more input to make more person.
I thought I was going to be sort of going, right, I'm going to look after Ellie, I'm going to cook for her, and make sure she's getting whatever she fancies, and maybe that by extension, but I thought by extension that would mean that I'd cook a bit more healthily for myself as well, if I'm making a nice homemade meal for you. But instead of that, because you've been so all over the place in what you can eat or what you feel like eating, I haven't been making you many meals, and when I have, it's been something
weird shit that you wouldn't eat. Like, just be like a plate of fake chicken, and that's it. Like, it'd just be like, yeah, just a few pieces of that.
So I've just ended in putting in frozen pizzas, haven't I?
Yeah, it's weird, because like I've always really liked my food, but I try and think, I'm like, oh, I should eat. And then nothing appeals, and nothing. I don't want to eat anything. There's a couple of times I've had like a crumpet with just butter on it. I did actually yesterday at the evening thing. I took along a few nibbles, and I took along a bottle of wine, which I donated to the cause, just to kind of blend in as well a little bit. But I had some Twiglets, and I thought they'd be too strong a flavour, but they actually went down a treat, which was surprising but nice. And Kim, who did not know, who was actually the host, I did tell her actually later, because she's one of my girls, but she didn't know at the time. She'd got in, because we've been talking about it a few weeks back, Marmite Houmous, which I was very excited about when I talked about it with her. But then she got it for me at this, and I was like, oh, that's going to be quite a strong flavour. So I was like, oh, I'll try some in a bit. And then later on I did try some, and I was like, I can tell I will like that normally, but that's too strong a flavour right now.
She was very keen for me to try some Marmite. I was not into it. And she was trying to insist, wasn't she?
You're like, you've got to face your fears, chopping.
And I'm like, it's not a fear. It's not like a fear you can conquer, is it? It's something that just tastes bad. Like...
Oh, I would have loved for you to actually do it, but I could see you were desperately uncomfortable.
People always do that with things. Oh, have this. It's got some Marmite in it. But you can't even really taste the Marmite. Well, why did you put it in then? Obviously, you can taste the Marmite, or you would leave it out. It would be cheaper not to include it if you didn't taste of it. It's stupid. People always want you to eat Marmite. You think, oh, you don't like Marmite? Oh, just have this thing with Marmite on it. Honestly, it's lovely. It's fine. No, I don't like it. I will have Marmite if it's like used to kind of add a bit of depth to the flavour of like a Yorkshire, not a Yorkshire, like a shepherd's pie.
Oh, right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like
so in something that's like a minced meaty kind of sort of...
Yeah, the equivalent of using a stock cube, I guess. You put a bit of that in with the mince and with the onions and everything else.
I usually do if I'm doing like a bolognese or a chili or something like that. But like that would be like a spoonful of Marmite, and it does just... like it's got a very savoury flavour, but it does just deepen the flavour without tasting Marmite.
Although if there was a product available in the shops that was called Marmite Shepherd's Pie, I would be very suspicious. I think they've obviously put in enough Marmite for you to taste it, or they wouldn't call it that. And I'm not.
No, I think that's fair.
Oh.
Yeah, with the Marmite Houmous, it did taste quite Marmitey, and I would normally like that, but Well, you just made like the other day. You literally made. I was like, I need to eat something. And I was like, maybe basically plain pasta. And I was like, well, maybe put like a tiny bit of garlic in the oil. And then when it came, I was like, oh, this it's way too strong smelling of garlic. I did eat it, but it was just...
To give a bit of context, Ellie's usual rule of thumb is if a recipe calls for garlic, is double it.
Yeah, if it says 2 cloves, put 4.
So I put in 2 cloves in this pasta.
Yeah, that was too much.
Far too much.
Literally, I think maybe half of one would have probably sufficed. But I wasn't to know that, nor you. But this is what I'm finding. My sense of smell is superhuman right now. It is bonkers. But like... that's not necessarily a good thing, because it's usually that these smells are making me feel like nauseous. Like,
what was it earlier? You said, I can smell that all the way from...
My tea. I'd made a herbal tea. Or was that like...
You could smell it from like halfway across the room, couldn't you?
Yeah, I was like, I could smell that.
And it's not a strong...
No, it's just like a little... I think it was like a pear, apple and nettle tea. It's not like... Because, that's another thing. I need to get in some decaf tea, because you are allowed to have a little caffeine during pregnancy. They sort of say it's fine to have a little, but if you have too much, it can cause low birth weights. Apparently, is the theory anyway. So they recommend keeping it below 200 milligrams a day. So that's basically, looking at that, that's sort of 2 to 3 cups of tea a day. I'm normally a big tea drinker. I have got loads of herbal teas in. I'm giving them a go. But they don't quite hit the spot in the same way that like, cup of tea thing. So what I've been trying to do, and actually tea has been going down fairly well. Not always. There's been a couple of times I've made a cup of tea and then been like, no. So there's been a few cups of tea that I've had like a few sips and just been, it's going, like, it's fairly successful. But even at times, just water it tastes metallic. And like overpowering, and you can sort of feel it sitting in your stomach, and you're just a bit like, ooh. Everything is bonkers. And sorry to be crass, but my boobs are absolutely fucking agony. Like, I cannot believe, looking down at them, that they are not like black and blue, because it feels like, I think they've also already got bigger, which is inconsiderate because they were already ample. So like sleeping, like I'm taking myself off my meds, which help me sleep. So that's already difficult, but I can't. Any position is uncomfortable because any pressure at all whatsoever on my boobs is just unbearable. So I'm sleeping in like padded support, like sports bras, which kind of helps, but even like to go up or down the stairs, I'm having to like hold my boobs so that there's no movement in the boobs, because it really hurts. And it's just like, honestly, I'm looking like, it's unbelievable that they don't look like you sort of like. To sort of give you a demonstration of how sensitive we're talking here, I can't face the water in the shower because the water landing on my boobs is too painful.
So, as you can imagine, they are getting increasingly dirty.
Oh, dirty nips.
Oh, filthy nips.
I am washing them. I just have to wash them carefully while facing the other way. But yeah, it's bonkers, and I'm only like at the 5 and something weeks, and so when they sort of say that most pregnancy symptoms start to kick in at 6 weeks onwards, that's scary. So I'm hoping that sort of I stay at about this level, because it's already like to the point. Yesterday was good because actually yesterday I managed to get a lot more done than I thought I would, because I planned to go over to see one of my brothers to tell him the news, and so that was going to be planned for the afternoon, and then in the evening
it was fun telling your brother he barbecues a good steak.
Yeah, he didn't even get in the steak as a celebratory thing, he just got in a bunch of meat, and they had a big old meaty barbecue which smelled stronger than I would have liked.
The standard now that set the bar for people we break the news to. I want to be given a steak.
The death count of this pregnancy is going to be enormous.
Every time someone finds out that I'm going to be a dad, they should... Because, like, you know, in the old days, like, you'd go in the hospital and everyone would be smoking cigars and drinking whiskies. I think I should be congratulated with steak dinner.
This does not appeal to my vegan ideals whatsoever.
You don't have to have any steak dinners.
I'm not having any steak dinners.
Well, there you go. Fine. It's for everyone.
Well, my friend Ella actually asked me quite an interesting question today. She said, what will you do if you get meat cravings? And I was like, I just really hope I don't get any, because I think that would really upset me if I had to, like, because it's sort of like cravings usually suggest that there is something you need. I'm hoping with making sure that I'm getting a balanced diet and that I'm taking my pregnancy multivitamin, that I don't have any deficiencies in anything that would lead to a craving for something. And particularly, I am sort of still managing to eat a fair amount of lean protein, which I think would probably be why you would crave meat, is maybe it would be an iron or a protein thing. So I'm hoping not, but that would be really, because I've been fairly strict vegan for at least 3 years now, and that I think would really upset me if it was just like I really feel like I need to eat it, but like the moral sort of implications of eating it I think would really upset me. But also the idea of eating meat and dairy at the moment, it really, like, anyway turns my stomach, but at this stage the idea of eating it, everything turns my stomach. So hopefully that's not going to be a bridge I have to cross, but I'm hoping just if I like cover my bases and make sure that I'm getting all the nutrients I need, that hopefully I won't get any weird cravings like that. They're not always based on sort of an actual need. Sometimes it's just mad sort of pregnancy cravings, but because there are weird ones. I do know of somebody who had a craving to eat chalk, and she was getting through, like, she was buying like 2 packs of Crayola like whiteboard chalks and like getting through about 2 packs a week. So like during the day she'd pick up one and chew on it, but that is almost certainly a sign of a calcium deficiency, because it's calcium carbonate, and it's, but like how your brain knows to crave that, because I assume she'd never eaten chalk before then. You hope. I don't actually know. But yeah, you get some weird ones, because there's a term called pica, which is a term for abnormal pregnancy cravings, and some women get the craving to eat mud. I assume they don't actually do it, but I like those sorts of cravings are odd, and like I don't actually know what causes them. So if I have them, I'm sure I'll do my research, and then you'll be the first to know about it. But so for early days, I'm already experiencing quite a lot of symptoms, which is like it's a little bit of a challenge, but I'm kind of like, even with feeling rough, I'm sort of taking comfort in it, because I'm like, well, that means that hormones are raging, and that's got to be a good sign. So like I'll take it. And I do have a history of having to put up with having symptoms that are quite unpleasant. This is just a different set of them, so I'm just kind of rolling with it. But yeah, fatigue is an issue, not being able to sleep, boobs, nausea, appetite, lack thereof. There's lots going on already, and headaches. Yeah, like there's a lot going on, and it's early days, so that's daunting. But
for me, it's all been good so far.
Well,
like we've told a few more of your friends.
Yeah.
And just people keep telling me what a good dad I'm going to be.
Yeah, I think
Which
you are gonna be
I don't
a
know
good
what they're
dad.
basing that on, to be honest.
You're a good cat dad.
I've never. Oh, I suppose I'm a good cat dad. That's true. I had a theory today. I thought, well, maybe it's a conspiracy.
Conspiracy
Conspiracy
theory.
is too strong a word, but
They're all getting together behind closed doors to talk about what a good dad you are.
no, not. Well, I thought maybe it's a thing that women do. Like when one of the group gets pregnant, the friends all tell the dad to be, oh, I think you're going to be such a good dad, and then they go, oh, I best live up to this. That's a lot of pressure. I best up my game.
I would like to think that maybe societal pressure would be there anyway, that you don't need specific, like, come on, pull your figure out.
I'd like to think I'd be a good dad just for its own sake, not
Yeah,
based
that's
on
what I
societal
mean. No,
pressure.
but that's what I mean. Like, if you're talking about generically that there's a rule of
just-
thumb that women will put the pressure on.
I just
the
don't know
bloke.
why everyone keeps saying I'm going to be a good dad, but I'll take it. It's good.
It's
all
not
right.
actually. Of the people that we have told, they've been absolutely lovely, and it's been really, really nice telling people. Obviously, there is a part of me that just wants to shout it from the rooftops, but then I don't want to, if it does all go wrong, have horrible conversations with people that I don't really know well enough to have, because it's quite an intimate conversation if that happens. So it's kind of telling close friends that we would tell if it does all go that way, because as I've mentioned in the last vlog, I have experienced miscarriage before. I think that's too much to ask two people to go through that together, because not talking about it with people is just it's putting too much pressure on you two to deal with a really awful thing alone, and I just don't think it's very healthy. I think it's quite an archaic view. So telling people that I'm okay, and also it's fun. It's really nice to have the exciting, fun conversations, and sort of it becomes quite real. And also from the female perspective, it's really nice to talk to other women who've had babies and been pregnant and know what you're in for, and just to discuss their own experiences, because pregnancy is this thing that everybody knows about, and there's lots of sort of common tropes that you see on TV and in the films, but you probably don't actually know a lot about the actual ins and outs of what's going on and when it's going on and how and why what happens, and also how it actually sort of feels to go through it. I remember when a friend of mine, Kath, was pregnant, she told me something that was an eye-opening and horrible thing to discover. So strap yourself in for this one, guys, and I'll leave you on this. When they're sort of coming towards planning your birth, the birth, not your birth. Hopefully you've done that already. Once they're sort of planning for the birth, there's a phrase that you will be asked that you have to prepare for, which is, would you rather tear or be cut? Oh, that's not a question I want to answer. I'd rather not, neither, thank you. Yes, it is possible to give birth and neither happen, but if it's looking like there's things gonna happen, they can choose to sort of cut you.
Any early leanings on that one?
My instinct was cut, because that'll be a nice neat straight line that they can sort of sew that all back up. But actually, there's a school of thought which sort of suggests if it tears, it will tear naturally and sort of where it is weakest, and it would heal better. So I don't know. I'll have to think a little bit more about that and probably discuss that with a midwife a little bit closer to the time I need to. But yeah, tear or be cut, nice. That's a fun question, isn't it?
Yeah, will I be there for that conversation?
No, that'll probably
I feel
be a
like I'd be
conversation.
pulling this face all the time.
Well, just wait till you're in the labour room, fella, because there's a whole world of that face I've got to look forward to.
Staying down the head end, looking after your head.
To be honest, I think I would rather you be staying at the head end.
Looking after your head.
Looking after my head.
Yeah.
I don't really, it's not going to look pretty down there.
Also, I've realised that if friends of ours are watching these, by this point, they'll probably already know, right? Because we'll have been telling a lot of people.
Yeah, close friends anyway. If you don't know, that doesn't mean you're not a close friend. Sorry.
But even if they're not close friends, chances are.
This is the second episode
of the vlog. So
we'll have announced
if they've
by the
got
time
this
people are
far,
watching this,
they'll have seen it on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, all my social media accounts. By now they'll be aware, and they'll be thinking, oh well, when I found out, I didn't get a mistake. And I think I want to make
Priorities.
it very clear. I am happy to accept steaks, kind of
Retrospectively.
retrospectively, yes.
Okay.
Retroactively, I don't. Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad we've covered that. How about gifts for the mum to be? I don't want steak.
Oh, you can have them. Yeah, sure.
What them gifts?
Gifts, yeah.
All right, yeah. You get like nice smelling things, scented candles.
Nice smelling things, but not a steak. There's very mixed messages you're sending out. Very confusing for people.
Like I was being very good and very sensible about it, but the smell of barbecue was. I didn't like it.
We had chicken and burgers and steak. We ate like kings.
And then drank a lot of soft
for
drinks.
dinner, I had a Victoria sponge cake, except that it was.
Are you eating for two?
I think I'm getting cravings because I just ate the cream and jam and threw the sponge away.
That's not normal behaviour, Babs.
I think lockdown's changed me.
Yeah, that's not normal. So yeah, we should probably wrap that up there because we're trying to keep these slightly more sort of sensibly length than our other ones. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully, we may be able to fit another one in by then because the next time we're scanning is Saturday. So that's almost a week away. So we might do another vlog in between now and then. We'll have to see how I'm doing. But definitely, if not before then, we will report back after scan and let you know how that's gone on. And see if my intuition about there being a fucking litter in there is correct. On that note though, like, although obviously like you first instinct when you think twins is, oh my god, 2 at once, and that's terrifying, and it is, because we've never looked after one baby. Looking after 2 babies at a time is terrifying, but there is also the sense of, well, we've never looked after any, we'll just adjust because we'll have to. And like the birth, well, you know, it is what it is. It's going to be painful. It's going to be all the things it's going to be anyway. And actually, maybe 2 smaller babies is better than 1 massive one. Maybe. Like, just the logistics of the size that it's gonna the size of baby and the size of the exit. Maybe it's good that it's a smaller baby and there's 2 of them. Form an orderly queue. Off you go. So we'll see. But yeah, I will be very happy with just 1. And actually I have, although because I've been so focused on the idea that there might be 2, that I've kind of made my peace with there being 2. And like, I'm just like, yeah, nope, two babies we'll manage. But yeah, that's going to be a whole world of, so, pregnant, 35, first time mum, fibromyalgia, twins. If you're gonna set yourself a fucking challenge, that's the one to do. So that's how we roll. So
it's a good prize, isn't it? If you complete it.
Completely, 2 babies at once. Get them done. I only sort of planned on maybe having 2 in total. Get them both done at once.
Yeah.
Sorted. Might get greedy then. Might be like, oh well, I've only had 1 pregnancy though.
Oh yeah, that's the bit I was looking forward to. When I couldn't take my meds,
I was prepared to have 2 pregnancies, but then what? Oh my god, what if you have another 2? Oh
no.
Like, I think the reason like twins is terrifying, but the idea of twins is like, well, there's 2 of us and there'd be 2 of them, and I've got 2 boobs, so potentially 2 crying hungry babies can be dealt with simultaneously with assistance. We'll both have to just be here all the time. You're not allowed to ever leave, basically. That will be the rule. But yeah. I sort of feel like it's... what do people who have more than 2 do? Like, if there's 3 crying babies who are all hungry, how do you manage that?
So, you know, if you want to, I don't know...
Answers on a postcard.
Maybe we'll set up a Patreon and then people can support us so I can stay at home and look after the twins. Great.
Yeah, well, so we'll be back soon with how I'm doing, what's going on, how we're feeling. But yeah, it's been fun having name conversations. It's been fun telling people. But yeah, if you are in the position where you're sort of in early days and you don't know about it, my general rule of thumb, which is just personal preference, is anybody that you would want to lean on if it all goes wrong, talk to them, enjoy telling them. It's really fun, it's really nice and exciting, and it's a lovely thing, and seeing that sort of joy and having that lovely, exciting stuff to talk about is really nice. So don't deny yourself that just for the sake of sort of social convention. But yeah, maybe keep it off Facebook for now. That's probably a good call. So we'll call it a day there, and we will see you again soon. Hopefully, as probably it will be week 6 by the time you see us, I won't be vomiting all over the place. Fingers crossed. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.